Monday morning. I'm not a fan of Monday mornings, as you all know. It's Plus Sports and PlusTvAfrica. Welcome on the show. Now, let me start with this particular story this morning that is, I still can't believe it. So I'll read it to you, and then we'll try and see if we can all believe it together, okay? Super Eagles head coach Gernot Rohr has invited 25 home-based players for next month's international friendly against Mexico in the United States. 25-man list, that's the likes of goalkeeper John Noble, Ikechukwu Ezenwa, and Anayo Iwala, was announced on yesterday. The game, which will hold inside the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, will take place on July 4th. Invited players are expected to report at the Serra Legacy Hotel, Wuye, Abuja, on Tuesday, 22nd June, with their travel documents. Only 22 of them will travel to the United States for the friendly. The last time the Eagles took on Mexico was in another friendly in March 2014, which ended goalless. Next month's game will be the fourth straight friendly between both countries, with the last three ending in draws. Mukhail, Tinubu, good morning. Okay, I've got Sayo Oguntoye on the show with me too. Good morning, Sayo. Okay, when he gets back to us, we'll ask the question. What? Mukhail, in all of my years, it's never happened. The Super Eagles call a full squad of just home-based players. And then a Gernot Rohr, who has always told the world verbally and with body language that, listen, I will never put any trust in any of these guys who ply their trade in the league, calls a 25-man list. All of them home-based players, all.
In an ideal world, this would be a joyous moment for
Yes,
Nigerians.
should be.
It should be, but I don't think it will be for most people. We all know that the quality of football being played in our local league isn't at the level that we want to represent on the international stage, even if it's just a friendly. So I'm sure he had no choice, and I'm sure it's a painful pill for him to swallow, going back on his words, on his own body language, on all of the signs he's put out there that he doesn't rate these players. So it will be interesting to see.
Well, this should be a good thing for these guys who are home-based players. One, for the exposure. Two, travel abroad. And then three, get to play with them other internationals. And then they will come back definitely better players.
Even in the USA, how many USA players that are applying their trade in the MLS are actually in the first team by choice? If the manager could pick a full squad of players who play in Europe, who have more experience playing against the Germans, the English, and the French and Spaniards, then they would. But their league is even better than ours. The condition of their pitches, the condition of their stadiums, better than ours. So I don't know if the exposure is good in the long term, because if these players have to go abroad and demonstrate what they've been playing regularly in our local league to an international audience, I don't know if we're going to come out smelling like
that was
roses.
Ahmed Musa on the screen a few minutes ago, and he plays for Kano Pillars. I guess that makes him a home-based player.
I guess so, but at least he has European experience.
But he's not in the list.
Well, if the manager feels he has to go for younger talent, if he feels he has to use our natural abilities, which is strength and speed, to overwhelm the opposition, I hope he has a game plan on how to best make that.
I don't know if Gernot Rohr has a game plan, but okay. Now, the Nigerian men's 4x100 meters, 4x400 meters, and women's 4x400 meters and mixed 4x400 meters teams have failed in their bids to qualify for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics in the last day of the AFN Olympics national trials at the Yaba College of Technology, Lagos, on Sunday. Now, the relay teams, however, have another chance to secure qualification at the Making of Champions relays on Saturday and Sunday at the same venue. It was a rainy day on Sunday as athletes had to run on wet pitches in one of the most important races of the Olympic trials. It was also a disappointment for the men's 4x400 meters team as Samson Nathaniel, Emmanuel Ojeli, Adeyemi Sikiru, and Chief Chidi Okezie's time of 3.05 was not enough to upstage Brazil, who are 36th on the top list with 3.0284. Their women counterparts also failed to overtake Dominican Republic in 16th place. And after Iniobong Nze Uko, Patience Okon George, Favor Ofili, and Knowledge Onwitli ran a season's best of 3.3027. Now, the mixed 4x400 meters could only finish third behind Zambia and Senegal. Nigeria relay teams squandered their chances of scoring qualification for the relay events at the Olympics when they failed to attend the World Athletics Relays in Silesia, Poland, May 1st and 2nd. But let's look at the relays. The only saving grace, the only opium, the only high Nigerians have when it comes to athletics is the relays. Yes, you can find somebody doing well in shot put, javelin, or weightlifting, but it's always been, relays.
I think we should be worried about the fact that why are we not on the same level competing with the USA, competing with Britain, and competing with the Jamaicans when it comes to relay, even for our female teams? I mean, we have the resources. We certainly have the appetite for sports and athletics.
And most of these guys who actually run for us either run in Jamaica, America, or the UK.
They are all basically foreign-based athletes doing work for us when we're not willing to prepare them by ourselves with our own resources. The best of them always have to be people who have been training in the USA with USA teammates who spent their years, maybe even are US citizens, but want to come to the motherland and represent Nigeria because maybe it's more difficult to be on the American team. But at the same time, if something like this, if these girls do not qualify ultimately for the Olympics, I think whoever is managing the athletics department, who's managing them, has to be reviewed, has to be maybe even fired.
Nobody fires anybody in Nigeria, first off. But the question would be, these girls are in the UK, or and the guys, America, and basically abroad. And there was supposed to be trials in Silesia, Poland.
How could they not make it
The
for
only
that?
reason why they couldn't make it there was because of itinerary from here. We couldn't get our acts together here. Like you said, somebody should be fired for missing Poland in the first place. If we had gone to Poland and qualified, we'd be in this dilemma right now. But nobody is fired in Nigeria. It doesn't happen.
And even now, we're running against bottom of the barrel teams who are trying to make it through the last, and we're still finding it difficult to do so. So is it all that time of training, all that time of preparation?
I still think that one of the problems we should be having right now would be we don't come home to the grassroots to look for people who really have these talents, Sayo, finally, welcome back. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Alex.
Welcome, Sayo. Now, the 25-man list by Gennaro Raw, all home-based players to go abroad to play Mexico. I'm surprised at that.
Well, we are all surprised about it, but let's just hope for the best. It's something that has to come at least. But we're not so surprised because we are open to surprises, and we just hope for the best.
Now, quickly, let's move forward again. Our athletics team, the relays, have not qualified. And this is sad because in the athletics in Nigeria, our relay team has always been our opium, our high at the Olympics. And now they're not qualifying, they're not doing well. And I think the reason is, why don't we look inwards? We have the regulars every time, Blessing or Kagbari, this, that. They will grow old eventually. What are we doing to ensure there are new ones being groomed to represent us in the Olympics?
Well, at this juncture, it is so sad to see that our male Olympic, relay team are not going to be there. I mean, sometimes these are just what makes us, register our attendance at the Olympics. It might just be the relay athletics team, but now we're not going to be there. It's so sad, and I think we need to go back to the drawing board. we need to imbibe the culture of athletics in our schools, in other institutions, so that we can start grooming these people from from infancy, and before you know it, we can become great again. Just like you said, we used to have the great Okagbari and co. I mean, it's no longer news. We no longer produce talent as such as that anymore.
Sayo has said something now that I've heard in the last 10 years, and I'm tired of hearing it really. Let's go back to the drawing board. This board is broken. There's no drawing board anymore.
Everywhere else, they go to as far back as secondary school to scout. Every time there's a sporting event, and we're always having inter-house sports in secondary schools. So why are there never scouts? Why are there not top schools being earmarked as talent factories? Why are grants not being given to some of those schools?
To work on their sporting events, yeah.
Exactly, to boost their sporting departments and to build a reputation of maybe even scholarships for students who are the best and most talented athletes possible. And at the very least, even if we're not doing that, even if we're not giving grants, certainly we should have scouts in the stands when a lot of these secondary schools that we know already have facilities to put out a lot of good talent. Why are we not scouting those schools?
So sad. Now, England defender Kieran Trippier believes the onus is on him and his teammates to get the best out of Harry Kane, who struggled in the opening 2 games at Euro 2020. The Three Lions captain has been substituted in both of the team's group games so far, but Kane's former Tottenham teammate believes everyone is aware of his influence, regardless of goals scored. Trippier, fresh from winning La Liga with Atletico Madrid, just insists perspective is needed after England were booed off following their goalless draw against Scotland. The fullback also believes rotation is key with such a high-quality squad available.
I feel, as players, that if you give Harry service, he'll score. But yeah, obviously we know we need to create more chances in the games, and we will do. But like I said, no worries about Harry at all. I know he'll score goals. And like I said before, the work that he does off the ball is incredible. His work rate for the team and is a fantastic team player. Well, I think the Croatia game, it was a massive win for us. I think we played very well. And the Scotland game, it's a huge game, as everybody knows, England-Scotland. Like I said, we created chances to win the game. We know we can do better as a team, of course. But it's all about ifs and buts. But the most important thing for us now is regroup, keep calm, as we all are. Get back on the training field and focus on Tuesday, another big game, and the one that we want to win.
Now, Sayo, Kieran Trippier believes that rotation is key with the Three Lions, but everybody says that English players are overhyped and that they are not that good. But he says they are so good they should be rotated.
Well, there is an iota of truth in saying that English players are overhyped, just exception of a few of them. Kieran Trippier here saying that, they are not overhyped. He's just trying to boost the morale of his players. I think it is needed, playing from the right back position. It's not been easy for him. Don't forget, he's coming from the backdrop of winning the La Liga. And coming into this championship now, it's been a very difficult one for them. In 2 games, England have scored 1 goal, conceded nothing. In fact, they had a draw against Scotland, which everyone expected them to win. And putting Harry Kane into the picture now, he has not been firing on all cylinders. Not just Harry Kane, the whole English team has been very, very poor in this tournament. And I still don't know how they are going to qualify, though they still have their destiny in their hands. But I think England needs to wake up. This is just the time to wake up.
Mukhail rotation, Jamie Vardy, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford. They've got fantastic strikers. But in 2 matches, 1 goal in the Euros.
I don't even know why Lowen from Everton wasn't coming on earlier. Yeah. Why they brought on Rashford instead. Interestingly enough, about the overhyped statement, the English media do overhype the players, do overhype the team, and you saw that with Croatia. I thought they barely won that game, and yet the conversation was about how Calvin Phillips played so well. He was the star of the match. Blah blah blah. It was already a foregone conclusion. If the organizers didn't give it to Calvin Phillips, then there would have been an issue. There is a lot of talent in the English team. There is enough room for a rotation that you could have a strong first 11. I just think there's a lack of imagination in the tactical setup that they go into games with.
Would you advise Gareth Southgate is changed?
Yes. I could imagine what the English team would be accomplishing if they had someone like Pep Guardiola at the helm, or Klopp, or even Tuchel.
Do you agree, Sayo, would you agree with Mukhail on that one, that Southgate should go and get a different coach with different ideas?
Yes, I want to agree with Mukhail this morning on that, because even when Rooney said something like this recently, when he said his own generation of players, the Lampards, the Gerrard, if they had a coach like Pep Guardiola, they would have won something at least. I mean, England have not been blessed with good coaches, and I think that's what they are lacking now. Gareth Southgate is short of ideas. To me, is even below average. I mean, as a coach, he should have, this imaginary thing, this charismatic personality in him. This incisiveness. It doesn't have it, and you can't give what you do not have. So I think England needs to look into getting a new coach, because they have some great players amongst them, except for maybe Tyrone Mings, who I feel cannot even start in Nigeria.
A lot of the very best coaches were even at minimum average players.
True.
But at the same time, they are exposed to all manners of football philosophy. Pep Guardiola, luckily for him, was managed by one of the greats, Johan Cruyff.
Johan Cruyff, yeah.
He's been exposed to a way of football that a lot of English players over the generations have never been. Very few English players used to go abroad. Even till now.
True that.
Only the likes of Jadon Sancho have broken that mold, and it was because he was seeking football at any cost. And he went to Germany, a place that is notorious for playing 17-year-olds along with 30-year-olds, because they don't mind. As long as you have the talent, you will play. When you're exposed to the kind of tactical as well as technical expertise that a lot of the players you're being surrounded with at European level, in Spain, in Germany, in France, when you're surrounded by such talent, you're going to improve. The fact is, I think a lot of players that we see nowadays, after a while, which is why I'm not one of those people who buys into the one man, one club type thing. Because at a certain point, no matter how hyped certain players are at the beginning, you see that their development never goes beyond where you expect it to. Someone like Marco Reus, you expected him to be one of the players vying for Ballon d'Or, but he spent all of his career in Dortmund for so long.
The Bundesliga, yeah.
Now that he's closer to 30 and above, he doesn't seem to have accomplished all that we thought he could.
Nothing that any hype can do at that point.
So when you are a player who doesn't play with that level of exposure in Europe, you're not going to ultimately turn, and I'm talking about Gareth Southgate now, you're not going to automatically turn into a manager with a lot of brilliant ideas on how to change things. Someone like Lampard has a long way to go, but he has been exposed to so many different managers, bringing so many different types of philosophy from Italy, from Brazil, from Spain. Who knows what kind of manager he will ultimately become?
Wow. Italian top seed Matteo Berrettini marked himself down as a genuine Wimbledon threat after beating Britain's Cameron Norrie 6-1, 6-7, 6-4, 6-3 to win the Queen's Club title on Sunday yesterday. 25-year-old used his huge serve and forehand to great effect once again to claim his 5th career title and became the first Italian champion at the prestigious event. He also beat 5-time champion Andy Murray and Dan Evans on his way to the final on his tournament debut. It was only a temporary hiccup for Berrettini, however, as he powered through the decider to become the first debutant to win the title at Queen's Club since Boris Becker in 1985. Becker went on to win Wimbledon a few weeks later. And Berrettini will head to the All-England club with high hopes of a deep run.
I knew that I was serving well. I knew that was important because in the rally, this guy is dangerous. So I stepped in and I knew that I had to play my best tennis. And I guess we played a great final. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And nothing, I'm happy.
Now, Sayo, Boris Becker in 1985 won the All-England, that's what Berrettini just won now, and he went on a few weeks after to win the Wimbledon. Could this be Berrettini's turn?
Yes, I want to agree with this new development. He has just won the Wimbledon, and it's a very, very welcome development. I mean, I always, embrace new challenges. Now he's coming to the mix, and let us see how we can rub shoulders with the big boys in other Grand Slam titles. And let's see also if he can be able to maintain the momentum right on the top. Because, it is easy to get to the top, but not easy to maintain it. So
True.
Let's see if he can.
Okay. Now, Mukhail, do you believe in superstition? Boris Becker, 1985, won this event and went on to Wimbledon. Can Berrettini do this?
I think so. I mean, when you look at Andy Murray, just a recent example, they waited for him, the English fans waited for him to win a major for the first time. More importantly, they waited for an Englishman to win the Wimbledon for the first time in such a long time. And once he won, I think it took the stress of the pressure of having to win a majors, having to win a title for so long that he was able to go into the next set of competitions and really compete and win even some back-to-back titles. So Berrettini could really do it.
Wow. France's Hugo Humbert pulled off a surprise 6-3, 7-6, 4 win over world number 7 Andrei Rublev to claim his maiden ATP 500 title on the Halle grass courts. Now, Humbert stepped up his Wimbledon preparations by producing a clinical display, winning 85% of his first serve points and hitting his 9 aces to extend his perfect record in ATP Tour finals to 3-0. Now, despite the debut, Rublev will rise up to third in the race to Turin for a place in the ATP finals in November. 23-year-old is only behind world number 1 Novak Djokovic and Stefanos Tsitsipas.
It's incredible. The best victory of my career. I'm very proud because it wasn't easy. I was a little bit tired today, but I tried to stay focused on each point and do what I can. So it's very nice.
The United States Olympic swimming trials wrapped up on Sunday with Simone Manuel winning the 50 meters freestyle to snatch a spot in Tokyo Olympics, missing out in the 100 meters, which she won at the 2006 Rio Games. Also earning a Tokyo ticket in the final night of the action in Osaka was Bobby Fulk with the win in the men's 1,500 meters freestyle, while Caleb Dressel qualified for a third individual event, blazing to victory in the men's 50 meters free, equaling his American record of 21:04 seconds. No result. Now, the result entire week-long meet was more welcome than Manuel's after it failed to make the finals in the 100 meters freestyle. The first black woman to claim an individual swimming gold medal, an emotional Manuel revealed later they had been suffering from overstraining syndrome that had kept her out of the pool until just weeks prior to the trials. This one, we have to leave you with this one. New Zealand weightlifter Laurel Hubbard was selected to be part of the country's team for the Tokyo Olympic Games on Monday, becoming the first openly transgender athlete to compete at the event after qualifying requirements were modified. Humbert will compete in the women's 87 category. The New Zealand Olympic Committee will said in a statement that the 43-year-old had competed in the men's weightlifting competitions before transitioning in 2013. She has been eligible to compete in the Olympics since 2015, when the IOC issued guidelines allowing any transgender athlete to compete as a woman, provided their testosterone levels are below 10 monopoles, now per liter for at least 12 months before their first competition. But eligibility has been questioned by ex-athletes and other critics of the IOC's guidance on inclusion for transgender athletes, which they believe ignores the performance advantage gained by going through male puberty. The New Zealand government, however, had backed their decision. Now, she's transgender. She grew up male. She has competed in this same event as a man. And then she becomes a woman, and they want her to compete again. And some people say it's an advantage for her against the females, really.
I think this is more...
Because she went through male puberty.
I think this is just a political stance by the organizers, and I don't think that anyone with a critical mind can look at her and say she doesn't have an advantage. I mean, granted, biologically, we all have advantages. Even if she was a full woman, even if she was born as a XY chromosome, she would still, even if she was a woman at birth, she might still grow up with maybe more testosterone than the average woman around her. She might still grow up with more bone density than the average woman around her. So, but then you would take that into consideration, and that's why we have certain criterias, certain levels that an athlete needs to meet. But here, they're altering criteria so that they can include a whole new set of people into an area that I don't think they have any reason to be. It would be better if we just accept that we can have a new category of transgender athletes vying for
that category.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sayo Oguntoye, for coming on the show today. Thank you.
The pleasure is always mine. Thank you
Mukhail,
so much.
thank you very much for joining us.
Always happy to.
Join us same time tomorrow, Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. My name is Wale Scott. Like I always advise you at the end of every show, if not for anything, at least for your heart, do some sports.